from the international community, the people of Bangladesh, who are mainly moderate Muslims, one day will establish a Bangladesh where there will be no minority oppression and all the human rights will be upheld at its highest standards. And that's my hope.
Thank you, Anindo. It was nicely spoken. Now I'll have the privilege, and it is my distinct honor, requesting the chairman of Wake County Democratic Party, Mr. Dan Blue, to say something about to this community. And Mr. Blue has a very distinguished track record for public service, and he is very much vocal against Governor McCready activities which is going on here. And Mr. Blue also, he has a degree from University of Duke. He has an MBA and law degree, and we're going to hear a lot of things from Mr. Blue. So please welcome Dan Blue.
Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm somewhat at a loss for words because typically I'm the last person to speak. In terms of pecking order, I am important, but I acknowledge the fact that I'm probably the least important person up here, Congressman Price, who's actually in DC, who's actually pushing for regulation, pushing for all of the things that we represent and push for, but he's actually doing it. So typically he gets to speak first, or one of his comrades gets to speak first. Chairman Bowler is chairman of the entire state Democratic Party, which, let me tell you something, is a bigger deal than it sounds like, which means he's got 100 people like me that are constantly calling him and harassing him and asking him. And he's got hundreds of thousands of other people also in the counties who are calling, demanding more justice. So it's after the congressman speaks and after the chairman speaks, then I get to come and do cleanup. And I talk to you about how to get involved in Wake County for all of the things that we think are important. But today it seems like it's a little backwards, and I'll accept that, because that means I get to go first, for once. Let me first thank you on behalf of the Wake County Democratic Party, because it's good to see you on such a beautiful day. There's so many other things to be doing today. I started this morning with my niece's birthday party, which was in Durham. It was an arts and crafts thing. I took in a soccer game. I didn't get to play. I got to watch. And then sort of took a shower and came over here to be able to speak. I was delighted to hear two beautiful national anthems. Typically we get up and we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, but instead I get to hear these wonderful voices lead everyone in song, and I never heard the Bangladesh national anthem. I'll have to go home and figure out exactly what was said because I didn't completely understand it, but the lyrics resonated. So I'm hoping, and I will find myself to be correct or incorrect when I get home, I'm hoping that that anthem talks about people united to aspire towards dreams and aspirations as a great nation. Because if that's the case, then it sounds a lot like our national anthem, or one of the various iterations of our national anthem, because we pick a couple. We've got sort of the fight song, which is the Star Spangled Banner, and we have America the Beautiful, which is a little more about what we aspire to be and how we appreciate this country. Let me ask you a simple question this morning, because that's really why I'm here for this afternoon. How are you doing? Good. Good? Good.
Could be better.
Because let me tell you, I'm not doing so well. I've been chair long enough to see Patrick McCrory elected as governor. I've been around here long enough to watch our General Assembly start dismantling things that are very important to me. I've been around long enough to watch our county Board of Education change hands and then revert back, thank goodness. But I'm not okay. I am tired. I am upset. I am angry. And I think I've just about had enough of the politics that we're playing locally here in North Carolina. Anytime that I drive from Raleigh, I live downtown, and Wake County is a large place. And I don't know if you've ever tried to drive to Wake Forest after 5 o'clock. I grew up here. I used to play soccer off of the Castle Fields, which is about halfway between Raleigh and Wake Forest. And I bring that up because When I grew up here, there were warehouses, car dealerships, then a lot of farmland, and then you sort of go another 20 miles and feel like you pick up Lake Forest. Now, from here all the way out there down Capitol, there are developments, which is wonderful. More people are moving in, but it takes me 45 minutes to get to the other end of the county, from the middle of the county. I can tell you the same story about going to Fuquay Marina or going out to Cary. It just depends on the hour. I mentioned that to you because we've got a county commission that's dead set against improving transportation. Transportation, along with health care, along with shelter and housing, are some of the basics to empowering people to live and thrive. It builds a healthy middle class. Much like healthcare, which I mentioned, I'm a lawyer by trade. I've spoken to so many people that have come through my office almost jubilant over healthcare. Not because they, for the first time, have healthcare, but for the first time, they're no longer chained to their employer to get their healthcare. Stop and think about that. There are people who work, they're intelligent people, they're educated people who work at the IBMs of the world. They work at the Ciscos of the world. They work at very strong positions. And they labor just like the rest of us, but they've got dreams and aspirations of doing more. But they can't do it because they've got families. They've got families who need dental work. They need to make sure that their kids can get in to see a doctor when they fall out of a tree, or that their wife can get to the doctor when she's having a headache, or that they can get to the doctor when they're having some sort of problem. Or the wife has a dream of opening a company, whether it's a law firm or something else like that, but they can't do it because they are tied to a company and the health care that that company offers. Why in the world would we tether access to health care with your corporate employment? That crushes entrepreneurism. People don't take advantage of the opportunities of America when you do that. They don't start companies because they've got to worry about things we shouldn't have to worry about. They end up having to worry about where their kids are going to school. And if you've ever thought of sending a kid to a private school, even at kindergarten, that's $10,000 to $20,000 a year that you're not investing in your company. Whether your company is a software startup or a bakery, that's real. That's real stuff. So when we talk about providing health care through the through the Affordability Care Act, when we talk about improving and maintaining Wake County school systems, don't look at this as a clash between us and them. Look at that as a clash between the future of Wake County and North Carolina and America, and in a future where everyone is tied to employment, where they're tied to medical care, where they're tied to something else that's completely out of their hands, where the only thing they can do in life is wake up at 8 o'clock, report to work at 8:30, work their 8-hour day, their 9-hour day, their 10-hour day, or their 12-hour shift, and never get ahead. Look at what's happening in the mortgage industry. I don't know how many of you are trying to buy houses or refinance houses, but it's not pretty. You could have toiled away even as an attorney for 10, 20 years, only to find that it's easier now to get a jumbo mortgage, and that is a mortgage that's higher than $417,000, than it is to get a $200,000 mortgage for your house. That's not right. That's the sort of thing that should make you upset. That's the sort of thing that our General Assembly right now is propagating, that they're furthering. They keep pushing for it. It sounds like, I know that it's the year anniversary, more or less, of the, I think it was the Rana Plaza disaster.
Yes.
And again, you've got people here in this Congress who understand that America has an opportunity and a responsibility to push for workers' rights wherever we can, wherever we touch. And I know part of the outrage was that a lot of the clothes built in some of those factories and sweatshops were being sold on American military bases. So in many ways, we were helping fund this situation that led to underage workers and exploitation of people that were just trying to make an honest living. You see that exact same thing happening here. We push to try to lift regulations that keep people out of dangerous situations. We do it so that someone else can get slightly lower taxes. Right now, the taxes on a yacht are lower than the taxes on a double-wide trailer. That's disgusting. All right? You should be disgusted. I am disgusted. So with your help and with the help of others like us, We're going to turn that around. We can do that here in Wake County. It starts in meetings like this. It means we talk to each other, we ask each other questions, we figure out where we've got the answers, and then we discuss where we need to move forward. But it starts by mobilizing communities. Whether you want to mobilize through a cultural group, or a neighborhood, or a school, whether it's NC State or Duke or anything else like that, we need to get you organized. Because it's incumbent on you to get people out to vote for policies that make sense, to elect officials that make sense. I know that I have got a lot of friends who thought that Patrick McCrory was a moderate. I know they thought that Tom Tillis was somewhat of a moderate as well. Figured they were from Charlotte. Can't go wrong. It's a nice urban metropolitan area. And for the last year, they've been biting their tongue. They've been mincing what they thought about this. They've decided that that view of moderation is too extreme. And they call me and they say, Dan, you're a Democrat. What do the Democrats around here stand for? I say, it's very simple. We want to make sure that every American, actually that every global citizen, is able to appreciate and take advantage of the dreams that we all have. And we do that by creating a level playing field. Not just level in the sense that everybody gets to go at the same time, but level in the sense that you shouldn't have to worry about your health care being chained to a multinational corporation that one day may decide that being in Raleigh, North Carolina doesn't do its shareholders enough good. It's that you deserve an education, your children deserve an education. Because again, educated children make for a better society. It shouldn't be on us for you to send your kids to a charter school or private school in order to get the basic education that they need just to make us a better place. Forget advancing themselves. I mean, it takes a lot of intelligence just to be a plumber around here. I need a smart plumber. I need a plumber. I actually do need a plumber. If any of you know a plumber, please let me know. But I want that plumber to have come through a school system that teaches him or her the basics. Not just the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but understanding how we as a society work, how everything fits together. Because that plumber is going to buy a house next to me. That plumber is going to need a mortgage. That plumber and her family or his family is going to be my neighbors, and we're going to raise kids together. We're going to talk over cheesecakes and Christmas things and all sorts of other things like that about what it means to be American, what it means to move this county forward. And I need you to be my neighbor, and I need you to be part of that conversation. Because that's what the Democratic Party is about. That's why I need you, that's why we need you, and hopefully I can get some of you to volunteer. But thank you very much for having me here. If you've got any questions, I'll hang around afterwards. I want to defer to the greater wisdom here on the panel. So if you've got any tough questions, ask them, but the easy ones bring my way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Blue, for your very articulate speech, and we really came to know a lot of things about the Democratic Party itself. Now it is my distinct pleasure to request Chairman Randy Waller, who is the Chairman of Democratic Party of Great State of North Carolina. Chairman Waller has a very distinguished track record for public service, and he has been the mayor of Pittsburgh City, and he has been very vocal on many issues that we are facing day to day. So now it is my honor to welcome and request Chairman Waller to put his speech. Chairman Waller, please welcome Chairman Waller.
Well, Dan, I'm not sure if I have any more wisdom, but I certainly have more girth. Usually, I guess in softball, I'd be the cleanup hitter, but we have David behind me. Right over here, we have a congressman that epitomizes what people in Congress should be. Somebody who's a thinker that looks at the issues and cares about investing in the community. So give a big round of applause for Congressman David Price. We wouldn't have the problems we do today. So first I just want to address you as someone whose family came to America. So how many people in this room emigrated to America? Raise your hand. Yes. How many are first generation? So the kids. I'm the son of an immigrant. So my father came over here with my grandmother and his sister after World War II, actually in the 1950s. Somehow he ended up in the great state of Arkansas. If you know much about America, Arkansas in the 1950s was not Shangri-La. It's not really a place you wanted to end up. But my father and his family were very big on the same things that Dan was referring to here. There's education, the family unit, and staying together and working hard and working up. So I understand, having grown up in that environment, the importance of having a good and safe community, the importance of having a connection back to your culture and where you're from, but also the importance of finding a way to integrate into the community and be part of a greater community. You know, my grandmother never really learned to speak English. I mean, she spoke Ricky Ricardo English, if you remember I Love Lucy, you know. And she was German, so it sounded a bit odd. She never, you know, she would, make us food that was German food, and we wanted, American food. So I'm very cognizant of this idea of having members of the family that we're trying to adapt. But ultimately, when you're here in America, you're trying to take part in what America stands for, and that's what the Democratic Party stands for, and that's why we're proud to be with you today. It's what Dan was referring to. We have an open arms in our big tent toward our immigrant communities. We actually have a caucus, Asian American Caucus, for folks to get involved and reach out to the community, because we need you to be involved with the party to get the message out. And all of you are here for a variety of reasons, but I know you care about your family, you care about your community, and you want your children to do better. That was the mantra my dad had. And one of the things you can do is get involved and vote. Now, a lot of you may not be citizens yet, some of you may be, and if you are, I hope you're voting for Congressman David Price if he's your congressman. But let me read to you something that came across my desk yesterday that's, I find to be troubling, about